Well, hello everyone. This is Keith Jowers with Life, and I am here tonight with Friday Night Live. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get our signal out tonight, as we have been having some, well, issues. It seems like I'm always internet issues out here in the studio at 425 here, but we're going to just go right through it, and I'm hoping everyone can just sit back for a little bit, and let's go talk about legacy. I want to thank everyone for all the support that you've given us here for the last several years, and I especially have some sponsors now. I'd like to thank here for the Dad's Radio Network that we've created, and one of them being is the Classic Car Museum of St. Augustine. If you haven't been down there, if you're in the North Florida area, you certainly want to go down and just be a part of that wonderful museum of about 100 cars of classic nature there, and it's just a wonderful place to be at. And with your family. I've referred some people down there, and they are just they were so delighted that I did, because of the fun time that they had. I also want to thank Justin Kaplan Pro and all that he does with all the startup businesses that he has helped over the years, and he's helped Dads for Life quite a bit. And you can also check him out at justinkaplanpro.com and learn more about what he does if you're interested in learning how to be well, starting up your own business and getting online and throwing your message out there somehow. Justin is definitely the one to do that. And then we also have HGIG Partners. HGIG Productions, who is a partner, and they helped us with the filming of Dad's Garage, and you can get all your filming needs done there. So, and also you partners, you are the ones that have made it happen over the years, and just a little bit of here and there, and we just continue to take those donations and put it back into the ministry and continue on here reaching dads all over the world. So we appreciate each and every one of you for doing that, and you can find out more at dadsforlife.com or my name keithjowers.com. You can learn more about being a partner here with us for very little, or well, as much as you'd like. We wouldn't disagree with that at all. So Friday Night Live is a program that I'd like to do on Friday nights and talk about different life subjects, and it's not always dealing with dads, but it could it mostly is that is our message here. But that's our focus, but our message truly is to the whole family, and because we believe dads and moms are both equally important, if not some even in a single situation or divorce situation, that dads are important and moms are important. They still have those important roles in that scenario. So I want to see if if anyone is out there listening, and you could just say hello to, or I could see that we're getting out okay tonight, and just want to make sure that our volume and everything is up to speed tonight as we get going with our message tonight. 15 ways to leave a legacy. There are many talks about legacy, depending on who you're talking to and what they think legacy truly is. But I believe that legacy is far more than any amount of money that you can leave. So, hello, Glenda. Thank you for listening in. And I believe that we have a lot to think about when we go to plan a legacy, plan our legacy or our estate for whom we're leaving behind. I have been involved in a few funerals recently, and have actually conducted a double funeral myself. And there were a plan in place. There was a plan in place for when that day should come, and it makes it a lot easier when you are able to. If you're the one that is handling everything, it makes it a lot easier to go and find a file or what we call a box. So a legacy box where we have everything in there, where the person who's having to do all that can actually go and figure out what needs to be done, what wishes were made by that person. It is so important. But have you ever thought about how much your children and grandchildren truly know about your life, and know about your history, where you've come from, and what really you're all about what you're planning to, what you would like your services to be when you go. I mean, whoever's in control of that, it could be your grandchildren, it could be your children, and it could be anyone in the family, it could be a friend. I've done it for family friends before. So is someone, what they think about that situation, or how are they going to be able to handle it? Have you made plans to do that? It's going to be surprising, though, to learn that many of us have very little knowledge of our history and our family from behind, where we've actually come from and how we got to the point of where we are today, thinking about our own legacy. According to a survey that was done by Ancestry.com, they actually learned that 1 in 3 adults couldn't name even their great-grandparents. Now, you think about that. Have you talked to your parents about your history a little bit? And that way you can learn a little bit about the legacy that you're following, where they've come from, how you got to the city that you're at today, those kind of things. Those are important things to, age appropriately, to talk about with your family. But why is it important? It's simply because, well, knowing more about who and where we've come from can help us learn more about ourselves. I recently did an ancestry search and found out I went back like 7 generations, 7 generations that led back to Europe, actually. And I come to find out that I actually have living relatives now in the UK. And I am so excited that one day meet them. And we were just planning to do that until COVID hit. My brother and I were going to go over and meet them, and just before COVID hit, and something postponed us going, and the next week is when COVID hit. So, all things work out like they should. But we were planning to go over there because we had found out that we do have relatives in the UK. So we don't worry if you think about you've lived less than exciting life. When you go to plan a legacy, sometimes people think, oh, I don't have no exciting life to live or talk about. But we all have a history. And what we may not see as a big deal to ourselves may mean a whole lot to someone else. It's like when I started researching, and I knew a little bit about our family name and so forth, but when I started researching that, I got to thinking that, man, I got some history. I got some true history through Ancestry that I had found out about. So I want to talk about, let's getting back to ourselves and how we're going to leave a legacy for our families. All Pro Dad had an article about leaving a legacy, and it mentions that Cus D'Amato was a famous boxing manager and trainer, and he once said that a hero and a coward both feel the same thing. It's what they do that makes a difference. When you step into a ring, I might feel a little cowardly if I step in a ring with a true boxer, right? But you got to get into the ring sometime. It's what that hero does that makes him a hero, and what a coward doesn't do that makes him a coward. But what we feel is not going to leave a legacy. What we do or don't do will leave a legacy. I have stood by the bedside of people as they leave this life and go into the next. And, none of them are talking about bigger cars, bigger houses, more things to buy. None of them are talking about that. None of them are talking about, they wish they had done this and wish they had done that to make them more money or have a different career or so forth. But what I do hear a lot about is family. Wish they'd spent more time with family. And what do you want to say? What do you want people to say about you when you're gone? What story is your life written about? What can they write about you? Do you spend time with your family, your kids, your grandkids, even in a divorce situation, as I was many, many years ago? I never divorced my child. I stayed by her as much as I possibly could to be with her because I wanted her to know that I am there as her father. So I kind of laid out, there's 15 things here I wanted to try to talk about. We'll try to get through these pretty quickly, and you can maybe do some further research on them for yourself, and leaving a legacy, and how in the days and months, and even sometimes it takes a year or so to prepare everything. Like letters, I want to leave letters to my family, and And so it takes time to think through those type of things that you're doing. So, but start today or tomorrow. Start very soon to get yourself going. So, all right, as the Bible says, life is a vapor, and then you're gone, right? I mean, it's if you ever. In fact, my wife and I had a pot of hot water last night, and I was looking at the vapors, and I said, "Look at these vapors; they just disappear." Well, that's the way life is; it just disappears. You're gone. You're here one day, and you're gone the next, so to speak. But let's talk about number one: leave your legacy. Our children listen to us most intently by watching us live. They don't listen to what we say sometimes, do they? But they do watch what we do. They do watch how we live, and we may say one thing, and I heard that recently, a dad, that would say one thing and yet do another. So when you do these kind of things, that's what your children truly are watching. So live with character and conviction and passion. If you really like doing something and you have let's say you have a passion of a hobby of doing something that's really, really, that you've been doing for a while and you really like doing it, well, involve your children. Show them that passion. They may be carrying it on once you're gone. The most indelible legacy is the way that we live our life, not just what we say. Number two, live like you mean it. Engage this life with passion and gratitude. Be grateful for things. My friend Larissa Trinquer, who she's a grateful chick on social media. She's a phenomenal lady who, she's grateful for so much. And she started thinking, well, she could help people. So she started talking about that. And that's her passion, is being grateful for things. And now she has a huge following on the internet. So she's definitely worth checking out. Engages life with passion and gratitude. And none of us know, actually, none of us know how long our lives are going to be. A recent funeral that I did was a mother of 79 and a daughter of 48, and they both passed within the same week. So we never know about tomorrow. And the Bible says tomorrow will take care of itself. We know where those folks were leaving for. We know their life. We know that they were Christians and they were looking for the eternity that they had coming to them. But yet we still miss them. We still love them. We still wish they were here with us, but we don't wish they were in the pain that they were here. And it's something that when people remember that you live more of your life and shared it with others than just for yourself. And I coined a phrase many years ago that says, if you go through life helping only yourself, you go through life alone. And I know a lot of lonely people that have been out there, but it's in your life that you continue to change and do things better for yourself as you grow older, but then you teach your kids the same as they grow up. Loving our spouse and our children with commitment and enthusiasm is a legacy like no other. We were just with our grandchildren, and it was so fun to be with them, but yet sad to leave. But you have to leave when you're not living in the same city with them. And but we had a good time while we were together. Number three is love your life. Love your life like it depended on it, because it does. I mean, your love like your life depended on it. That's what I meant to say. So sometimes I get carried away with what I'm talking about, and I'll say things that don't make no sense sometimes. Well, but if you love like your life depended on it, it really, really does. So even when we have nothing else to give, we still have love. And loving our spouse and our children with commitment and enthusiasm is a legacy all like no other. It's all by itself. And what's the Bible say about love? It's a great gift. It's patient, it's kind, it's not envious. Driving on the interstate, sometimes I really have to practice that patience part. So, what happened to people just thanking you when you let them over in a lane of traffic? I don't even see that very much anymore. But I still do it myself. But yet, there's some people that they just soon go on and forget about you for being nice to them, right? But that's okay. Number four, keep a journal. You're not a writer. I know people say, I'm not a writer, but that's no problem. You just want to jot down some things, some bullet points that can help jar your memory later in life, or maybe when you're gone, someone else is reading that. Just develop the habit of keeping a regular record of what's important in your life. A mentor I followed for many years, Jim Rohn, would always talk about that, and I don't always practice that. I just don't. I just, it's just not something I ever got into. But I think if you get into it, just like healthy eating, like I've been doing the last couple of months, my wife and I have tried to change some patterns. We're seeing results. Yeah, we're not doing it overnight, but we're seeing results. So it's something that I really encourage us to just jot down some thoughts. And and All Pro Dads, Tony Dungy started that. It's an amazing organization that works with dads and athletes and so forth. They wrote that they simply kept notes. There was one dad that wrote in their articles about keeping notes in his Bible. So when he passed, his children found the notes that he wrote when a sermon was something special to him or something they did was very special. Then he would put that in their Bible in a notepad, and they found the notes. So they were very touched by that. So write down stories about yourself, good things that happened to you. Don't forget about yourself. Just thinking that you're doing for something for somebody else all the time, because God's taking care of you too. So you want to write that down, and that way somebody else can see that God took care of you all these years. So nobody knows more about yourself than you do, right? You can also even record a video. I've been to funerals, and the person that's deceased, laying before us there in the casket is actually talking to us on video, which is different, but this is how you want to leave your lasting thoughts with your family. That's important. There's no right or wrong answer. Just as long as they're encouraging and uplifting and positive. So write down family traditions. So let's see here. I'm looking at my other device here to get more of the comments coming in. Write down your family traditions, even if you no longer do them. Traditions give us a sense of belonging, and they think about our family members that maybe started those traditions. Every holiday, my wife has a wonderful cinnamon bun recipe that her mom did, and she does that every holidays, and she makes enough of them where she passes them around the family near us. And just recently, one of my family members said, "Do you think she could make them just for a special non-holiday event?" So she did for a special group of ladies, and it was very, very well received. They just loved it. So, but her mom left that recipe, and then one year we took all those recipes and we put them in a Christmas book and gave it to the family. So that was very special. Number 5, share the family stories with your children. Let them know about your family. Be an open book. Share your stories. Don't have to tell them all this stuff, okay? But believe us, when we say kids prefer, they prefer these even to Harry Potter sometimes, because you can sit there and you can captivate them and talk to them about some really cool stories that only your family might have done, and they would like that. So, maybe your grandfather ran away from home at 12 years old to join the circus or something like that. Okay, I have a grandfather passed away now in heaven. He was a circus clown, so I enjoy hearing stories about the things that he would do sometimes. So number 6, start a family tree. Most of us have someone in the family who maintains the family tree, possibly. If not, maybe you want to start it. I think it's so important to see, the family tree and the branches it actually goes out and touches. It's like I did not know that I had other family members in the UK. So, but we've talked through Zoom and everything, and that's been really cool to be able to do that with them and to know that they are there. So one day we will do that. What's interesting though is I've been to the UK a few times for business, and I kind of felt connected there for some reason. I didn't really know. Well, now I know, right? Once you've done that, you started that family tree, there are plenty of online resources to help you. I don't recommend any one particular. I know which one I used, and it took me in a lot of different areas. So take steps now to start preserving your legacy. And remember, if you've got something special that you want them to know after you pass, make sure that's written down somewhere. So number 7, be honest. Nothing communicates more like authenticity. Share your feelings as well as your triumphs. A legacy that speaks of transparency. It's an open spirit. and it's a legacy all to itself that will benefit many generations. It truly will. Um, Number 8, ground your purpose in a greater purpose. Truly, I mean, we each live a story, and when sometimes you get my age, you look back and say, "Oh, I wish I had done that chapter right," or you wish you'd add a little bit more to that chapter, or so forth. But we all live a story, and those purposes are timeless sometimes, certainly bigger than we are. So live that story that will last in eternity. Uh, I know I can remember stories about my grandfather in our studio, 425, right here, was his address, 425. And I built the studio, when I named the studio, rather, I built it because um, the stories he would tell would be honest, they'd be true, they'd be, not self serving. I mean, uh, people walk by his house. He makes sure that they were not hungry, because if they were, he would feed them, no matter who they were, no matter what race, no matter what political affiliation. So that's a story. And that led to me actually naming our studio 425. So ground your purpose in a greater purpose. Number 9, give your family the gift of time. Most children and grandchildren remember presents more than they remember presents. Now, if you understand what I'm meaning, they really want your time. It's not necessarily they want the latest video game or whatever, because that's going to be used up pretty soon. Commit enough of yourself that your legacy is the fact that you love enough to be there. Especially when I work with single dads, I'll encourage them that no matter what, you have more technology today than I ever had back in the 80s. So you can stay in touch with your children. You can put it in your calendar. You can put reminder after reminder after reminder to be at the school function. I remember so much as a school resource officer and seeing a young man shoot that 3-pointer, and it was nothing but net. It was really cool. And I even thanked him afterwards. I said, "Man, that was awesome." I congratulated him and so forth. Said, "Yeah, it'd been better if my dad had been here." That hit home with me. So if you promise your kids you're going to do something, then do it. But live for others. Number 10, the great legacies of history are people who dedicated their lives to service of humanity, on a smaller scale, basically, but not less important. No less important is our service to those we love, and our family and friends we talked about, in our community. We're in a time now where our first responders are not getting respect as they used to, but then again, we'll see sometimes children and their parents will put together a community just thankful basket or something, or bring it to police stations, or I've seen this happen, or just going up to a police officer and actually thanking them in a restaurant for what they do. People drop by police stations and drop off, candy bars with little cards on them and everything, because there are some good people. There are still plenty of good people out there, but the media wants to not really make the first responders be the kind of people they truly are. They certainly aren't doing it for the money. They are doing it because of their community love, and that's why we need to thank them when we see them out in public. We truly do. Number 11 is talk about your vision after you've departed from this life. Share with your kids what kind of lives you would like for them to live. Not necessarily have to do the same thing you do. That can get a little bit misconstrued sometimes. But, that once you're gone, you would love for them to carry on, in the field that they're in, because they're changing lives, they're helping people, they're a nurse or a doctor, they're a fireman, policeman, whatever it is. But if you really like that and you really want to talk to them about that now, and give them accolades basically for doing what they're doing to help other people now. So, and then when you're gone one day, maybe dad, mom, they said, what would mom do in this situation? What would dad do in this situation? Oh, I know what they would do. So, because you taught them, right? Number 12, write down your family recipes. I mentioned that earlier with my wife's mother's recipes. We took them, put them all in a Christmas book and gave them to the families. That was really cool. It might be fun to just gather up recipes now that your grandmother's made or your mother had, and and just put them in a box or something and start pulling them together because you may want to do that one day. Number 13 is family photos. Now, I was talking to a mother last night on the phone. My wife and I were discussing some things that she was going through, and we were trying to help her a little bit. And she was saying, all these photos, it's just our kids don't want them. I said, you're absolutely right. I mean, this generation today, it just seems like they don't really want that kind of stuff. But most of us have a collection of family photos, but now you can send them to a company. You know, there's one that has the title of my message tonight, has it in there. And that message, or that they take all your photos, they take everything you send them and they put it digitally, which is pretty cool. I haven't done that yet, but I do plan to do that at some point. But the thing is, don't just throw them away. They really need to be preserved somewhere, and somebody down the road, maybe your grandchildren or great grandchildren, might one day really appreciate them. But I do understand that children today, the generation we seem to be in today, they just don't really care about some of that stuff, right? Don't let this happen to your your children or grandchildren when one day they look back and they can't remember. Excuse me. They can't remember some things of what maybe grandpa, what he looked like, and that kind of thing, because there's no pictures. Number 14, excuse me. Sometimes DNA tests are relatively inexpensive, and they're very easy to do, and you might want to do that to show them a little bit further into the history of where your family came from. You might be surprised to find out that what you thought were your roots truly are not your roots, that you may have came from another part of the country or the world. Number 15, pass along skills. Even the skills you think are not important might offer a fun learning and bonding experience for your grandchildren. You might be surprised by how much your grandchildren really appreciate the gesture and the opportunity to spend extra time with you. And remember, that's what I said. They really want time. They don't want necessarily presents and all that. They really like to spend some time with you. Now, they may not always show that. They may not always seem to express that, but it is true that they truly do. They will miss you when you're gone. And I think leaving a legacy is far more than money, as I mentioned. You know, it's these things we've talked about tonight, but you can think through your own. Maybe there's some things I didn't mention tonight that you can add to the list. We can do some legacy training here. We try to help families. So if you have something you can just share with us, maybe I didn't mention that we can add to the list, it'd be great. So you can go to our website, dadsforlife.com, and you can contact us through there. But you can also see how ways that you could help our ministry continue to grow. So, well, that's it for tonight. Leaving a legacy, and we appreciate each and every one of you. We are halfway through another year, but thank God it's not like last year, right? I mean, we're starting to see some life again, basically around our world, and I'm very excited that we're on the uphill swing of things. So, but just remain safe out there. Do everything you can to protect you and your family, and we'll see you next time right here at Dads for Life through the Dads Radio Network, Studio 425. I'm Keith Jowers. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.